All right, welcome to this explainer. Today, we're jumping straight into a piece of ancient literature that is literally going to flip a story you probably thought you knew right on its head. We're talking about the apocalypse of Adam. Now, if you're familiar with the standard Genesis narrative, the Garden of Eden and all that, you might think you have the story of the first humans figured out. But this text, which is a major cornerstone of ancient Gnostic thought, offers a complete inversion of that classic tale. It's not just a slightly different perspective, it's a profound reimagining of human origins, power dynamics, and spiritual awakening.
So, what if the creator of the universe wasn't actually the good guy? I mean, imagine waking up one day and realizing the deity you've been serving is, well, actually your jailer. That is a massive paradigm-shifting twist, and it perfectly sets the stage for the deeply subversive theology we are unpacking today. In this worldview, the material world isn't some beautiful garden made for our benefit, it's a flawed construct, and the entity that built it is far, far away from being the ultimate loving God.
Section 1. The alternate creation story, the fall of Adam and Eve.
Okay, according to this text, Adam, in his 700th year, by the way, passes down a top-secret revelation to his son Seth. He basically tells him that humanity's origins are way more glorious, but also way more tragic than we realize. Originally, Adam and Eve possessed eternal knowledge. In fact, they were actually superior to the Creator God who formed their physical bodies. Crazy, right? But then, that jealous ruler divided them in anger. They went from being glorious eternal beings to divided, frightened servants with completely darkened minds.
Now, you're probably wondering, what happens to all that divine knowledge? It can't just disappear. Well, the text tells us that the knowledge of eternal truth escapes from Adam and Eve, taking refuge in the seed of the great aeons, which is like a higher, purely spiritual realm. Left in this fallen state, humanity lost its original glory. Adam describes how they began learning of dead things, essentially becoming totally obsessed with the temporary material world, and they served this lesser creator God in terrifying darkness, completely forgetting their true divine heritage.
Section 2. The Creator's jealous wrath. The awakening begins.
So out of nowhere, the illusion of this lesser creator starts to crack. Adam is suddenly visited by three completely mysterious men. Adam even notes that he couldn't recognize their forms because they possessed a glory far beyond anything the Creator God could muster. They look right at him and say, "Rise, Adam, from the sleep of death and hear the message of the eon." They are there to jolt him awake from his spiritual slumber and remind him of the ultimate God of truth.
Now, of course, the lesser creator, who's often called the demiurge in these Gnostic traditions, he does not take kindly to this at all. Threatened by Adam and Eve's sudden spiritual awakening and this heavy sighing in their hearts, the Creator angrily tries to assert his dominance. He appears before them and demands, "Don't you know I am the God who created you?" He falsely claims to be the absolute supreme deity. And to try and maintain his iron grip, he forces a blinding darkness right over their eyes. But despite this vicious retaliation, the true God of truth does not abandon humanity.
Section 3. Prophecies of Flood and Fire. The Cosmic Retaliation.
To protect this hidden truth, Adam is shown a massive prophecy detailing the Creator's desperate attempts to wipe out anybody who refuses to just blindly serve him. First, the Creator uses a great flood, aiming to destroy all flesh. When that totally fails to wipe out the enlightened bloodline, he escalates to phase 2, sending fire and brimstone, specifically targeting the truth seekers. But ultimately, all of this builds up to a massive turning point, the arrival of the Illuminator, who brings ultimate wisdom to save the oppressed once and for all. Let's zoom in on that first cataclysm for a second, the flood. This text throws a massive curveball into the familiar Noah's Ark narrative. The Creator intends to save only his loyal, blind followers. However, Noah is secretly instructed by a higher power to protect a very specific group of people, those belonging to the generation of light. So he covertly separates them, making sure that the seed of divine knowledge survives the Creator's watery wrath.
And what about the fire and brimstone? Well, when the jealous Creator tries yet again to destroy the enlightened ones, the higher realm steps right in. Three specifically named super powerful angels, Abrasax, Sablo, and Gamaliel, they swoop in to help. And their method of rescue is just beautifully poetic. They carry the truth seekers to safety on luminous clouds of light. It just goes to show that the true God of truth actively protects those who hold the hidden knowledge, no matter what kind of tantrum the earthly Creator throws.
Section 4. The Illuminator's true origin, the confusion of the 13 kingdoms.
As this prophecy unfolds, an illuminator of knowledge
finally arrives from the great aeons. But here's the thing, the earthly world is totally confused by him. The earthly powers, categorized as the 13 kingdoms, they start inventing all these false origins for him. They guess he was born from a great spirit, or maybe a virgin's womb, a prophet, or even celestial desire. They desperately try to fit him into their worldly religious boxes. But only the kingless generation, the ones with the actual hidden knowledge, know the truth. He came from a foreign heir, a great aeon, begotten by truth itself, specifically to eliminate his own people.
So the absolutely crucial point here is understanding why these 13 kingdoms get it so wrong. It's what the text calls the archon's blindness. These earthly gods and rulers, the archons, bear false witness because their vision is strictly limited to their own inferior reality. They literally cannot comprehend the illuminator because he operates on a frequency of pure truth that exists completely outside of their flawed material creation.
Section 5. The Power of Hidden Gnosis, the Final Choice. At the end of the age, humanity faces this final, eternal division based purely on what they know. Those who remained ignorant, who really bought into the illusion of the material world, they cry out in this heartbreaking lament. They shout, "Why were we blind to the truth? We lost our way serving that Creator, not knowing He wasn't the true God." It is the ultimate realization, coming way too late, that the deity they obediently worshipped was, well, merely an impostor.
And that brings us to the ultimate key to all of this, gnosis, literally hidden or secret knowledge. You see, salvation in the apocalypse of Adam isn't about physical obedience or following rigid laws or pleasing some wrathful sky god. It is entirely about attaining gnosis, entering the eon of light by seeking life in the eternal spirit rather than the temporary flesh. It's the liberating knowledge of our true, divine spiritual origins.
So how exactly does this knowledge survive? Through the Holy Book of Seth. The text wraps up by telling us that this secret revelation is exactly this forbidden transmission. It's basically a survival guide of hidden knowledge passed straight from Adam to his son Seth, and meant only for the enlightened seed, the ones who actually have the spiritual capacity to understand it and wake up from the illusion.
The Apocalypse of Adam challenges basically everything we think we know about traditional power structures and orthodox narratives. It forces us to question the very fabric of our reality and the authorities we blindly follow. So, I'll leave you with this final, lingering thought to reflect on today. If hidden knowledge was the literal key to true freedom, completely separating you from the world you know, would you be brave enough to seek it?